Now is in downtown Des Moines because there is a pretty cool place that if you haven't visited yet, you might want to stop by in the next couple of weeks, especially if you have some visitors from out of town. She is downtown at some place that is very cool. Let's check in with Jackie and find out where in the world she is and how cool of a place it is.
Good morning, Lou. Now here on CW Iowa Live, we talk about great things that are happening here in central Iowa, but also really cool places maybe you didn't know about. And I'm right downtown. Literally, if you're taking 7th Street downtown to the main thoroughfare, you want to stop by this location, 666 Walnut. And yes, this is the entrance to Wells Fargo, but also something else very, very special we're going to show you this morning. That's the Wells Fargo History Museum here in Des Moines. Now, it's open Monday through Friday, starting at 8:30, but they're letting us get a little sneak peek of what's going on. We're talking 160 years of history, not only locally here in Iowa, but all across the nation as well, with exhibits, special events, and we're going to talk more about that this morning. So we'll get out of the cold and into this warm, beautiful space as we're going to introduce you to museum manager Kyle Johnson this morning, who's going to kind of take us through some of the exhibits and one of the beautiful places we have here in downtown Des Moines. So good morning, Kyle. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Wonderful. So we're here in the Wells Fargo History Museum. Many people don't know about this place. Is it relatively new? Talk about it.
Yeah, our museum's been actually open for 1 year, so we're really excited about the space here. If you take a look around, you're going to notice we have a lot of local exhibits and local artifacts that we can talk about and highlight. And so we're excited to be here for the community and provide for a variety of groups.
Now, why is it important for Wells Fargo to have areas like this, like a museum, to really talk about the rich history, not only in the state of Iowa, but all across the nation?
Well, when you take a look at our company, it's 165 years in the making, and so we're really proud of that. And the types of services the company has provided really have stretched generations, and we're proud of that. And so you can take a look at that in here from the express business. If you look right behind you, you're going to notice that we have an express wagon.
Let's go take a look, because a lot of times when you think Wells Fargo and you're like, okay, there's going to be a history museum, I'm going to see wagons, but there's a whole lot more to see here. But what are we looking at right now? Absolutely.
Right now we're looking at in our museums, this is the first express wagon to be in a Wells Fargo History Museum. This one does date back to the 1900s. And like I said, we have a lot of local exhibits in here. And so when you take a look at the express business, it was very important to Iowans in the turn of the century, from delivering packages, goods, anything that you would need. Well, let's take a look. Come on over here.
Okay. So these are some of the goods that would have been delivered by a Wells Fargo wagon.
Absolutely. So you take a look. There's a canned salmon. There's grapefruit. There's clothing, tools, anything that you would have needed back in the early 1900s, Wells Fargo would have helped deliver. And so we wanted to make sure that we showcased in our museum the things that Wells Fargo provided for customers, you know, across Iowa, across the United States. And what's really unique about this is you might be familiar, Meredith Wilson, he's a local Iowan. And so we wanted to highlight that Iowa connection and how important our history is. You know, in Iowa, we're proud of where we come from. And so in this museum, you're going to see artifacts from Meredith Wilson. You're going to see items from Cedar Falls, from Emmitsburg, from Eagle Grove. And so that's one unique piece here. And if you do push that button, one of the unique things about the museum is it's very interactive. So if you actually touch the screen, it's going to play a 4-minute Meredith Wilson, the Wells Fargo Wagon song. And the unique thing about that song is it really talks about the role that Wells Fargo played in serving that community. So we're excited about that. And then one of the other things I wanted to show you too was we like technology today.
Right.
And one of the unique things with kids today, they love to touch things, to play with things. When you take a look at text messaging, I'm sure kids are all over that. Well, we can show you the old school version of text messaging with the telegraph. And I think we mentioned there are 12 Wells Fargo History Museums across the United States. Each one is unique in the material and the artifacts that they have. But the majority of us have this telegraph here. So you can actually send messages, and on this screen, oh, almost got high.
This was the early form of texting back in the day, was to use a telegraph. And you can actually come here at downtown Des Moines and you can communicate with the other Wells Fargo History Museums that are all across the country, correct?
Absolutely, yep. And so it's just one of those ways that we can connect people in this generation to the times of the 1800s and the early 1900s, when this was a main form of of getting information and being able to make sure that deliveries were made on time. On this telegraph, you can actually, if you push into line number 3, it'll play historic messages. So there's a number of different avenues that we've tried to really approach in this museum to make sure that it was that it could touch the visitor and make sure that they were really able to grasp some of the history. And one of the other unique things too, Jackie, is talking about that express business and how important that was for Iowans and for anybody across the United States at that time. Is there's a chocolate pie in here, so if you actually come on down here, you're going to see inside that is a chocolate pie.
We have pie this morning.
Absolutely, and if you actually get close enough, it's going to smell like chocolate.
What?
True story.
Truly interactive here this morning, but it just continues on. We don't want to show you everything because we want to make sure you come down and experience it yourself. But from the very beginning with the Wells Fargo wagon of making deliveries, of taking care of people, and that happened right here in the state of Iowa, correct?
Absolutely. The history for our company is really deep. You know, with 15,000 Des Moines metro folks working for Wells Fargo, that's a lot of people, and that traces its days back to the early 1900s, or excuse me, late 1800s, early 1900s. Consumer lending home mortgage for our company that's 165 years old started right here in the state of Iowa, just a few blocks away. A lot of people remember the Dial Finance Company. Well, that's the folks, the founders of that played a huge role in Wells Fargo, and so we're excited to showcase that in here. You look through here, you're going to hear about the Levitt family, the Beal family as well played a huge role for us. So we like to talk about that and let people know kind of the role that finance has played in our community.
Unbelievable. Okay, we have so much more to show you, not only with the History Museum here right downtown, courtesy of Wells Fargo, but did you know they also have an art gallery, plus other great events that are coming up just right around the corner for the holiday. So I'm going to see if I can learn how to put CW Iowa here in, yeah, I'm not going to be very good at this, but back to you in studio, and we will be back live at the Wells Fargo History Museum. Oh, I need to work on this.
You have to brush up on her teletype and her teletype skills there. That is very cool, and that's right downtown, folks. Did you realize it even existed? So we'll check in with Jackie coming up in just a little bit. Time to